And I should be live as well.
All right,
We're both
perfect.
streaming this, yeah.
Oh, this is going to be interesting. I like it when I do this sort of stuff though, because it's a good record of whatever's going on in the world today. I think because a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
people don't, a lot of people don't stream or realize how good this streaming thing is.
So I might as well introduce myself to your chat since we're both streaming this. I'm SFO, short fat otaku. I'm primarily a political YouTuber, though I have like a gaming side channel and I do some other things. But the stuff that gets the hits for me is gaming stuff. Or sorry, no, not gaming stuff. I wish it was gaming stuff. It's political stuff. I get maybe like 5 or 6 figures on some things. It's enough in hits, not in money. It's enough to live on, basically, which is usually the dream. But I don't live comfortably, but I managed to do it.
Literally, you're living
And
the dream.
I guess it's a poor man's version of the dream, but it is the dream.
That's pretty
But
dope. That's pretty cool.
that if I was going to be known for anything, it would be my political content, and that's kind of where I came into the whole Dlive thing because for me it was primarily a free speech issue. How about you?
Well, I mean, when I went into DLive, I'm always really interested in anything cryptocurrency related. I was already on the Steemit platform, and I had been looking at like actual live streaming on different sources. So when I heard about DLive, I just automatically jumped onto it. So like I've been on the platform for a really really long time, and like I'm all about freedom of speech. Although like some people are a little mad about what little caveats that I'm putting on it, because I believe that if you want to have free speech, you got to be able to put your face out there and say who you are, so people like understand that it's not just some faceless like letter telling you that crazy things are happening in the world, like some QAnon type shit or something.
Well, I do disagree a little bit. However, I meant more in terms of your introduction.
Mm. Oh yeah, sure. No, well, I mean, like my introduction is just I'm Defango. I've been streaming a long time on various different platforms all over the internet, and I do a lot of political content. I look into a lot of mysteries. I actually do conspiracy theory based content too, but usually I'm debunking the conspiracy theories because I don't like this thing that people can do on the internet where they can just like make up stories and say that donut shops are taking people over. So like I've always had the experience where I'm just the guy sitting in front of my computer doing all the things, and I fall into different areas. And I think like for my best stuff usually is stuff related to puzzles or like latest hacks that came out. But I also do a lot of political content, and I mean I've worked on both sides of the aisle, for the Democrats and the Republicans.
So you must love Alex Jones then.
I don't really like Alex Jones, actually. Like I used to love him when I was a kid, and then like when I got up, I decided to, or when I got older, I started looking at what he was doing, and I was like, I get it, like he's just trying to sell products and money, but some of the stuff that he does and some of the people that he has on his show, like it's just kind of like, why the hell would you have that person on there? Like, aren't you? I was like, is it all about clicks for you guys nowadays, or is it actually about like putting out good information? And I mean, Alex is great. I'm sure he's probably like a really cool guy in person, and he acts exactly like the way he does on TV as he does in real life. But I mean, he doesn't need these platforms anymore. He's established, right? Isn't he? And then did you know that DLive banned him from the platform already?
Yeah, before he even streamed on it, right?
Yeah, well, they banned this other guy, David Knight. You know who that guy is? He was always restreaming InfoWars content, and so they banned him first. And then they just kept banning every channel that he would put up there. So the truth is Alex Jones and InfoWars have never tried to stream on DLive, but they've blocked the name InfoWars from being registered on the website, and anybody that goes up that so far has gone up like restreaming InfoWars related content has been taken off.
Really?
Yeah,
Jeez.
so I don't think that actually Alex Jones and InfoWars have actually come to the table and tried to get an account. I'm sure if they did, they could probably, like have a discussion about it. But according to like Wilson and that other guy that you were talking to, Alan, the Stone Crypto guy, they haven't actually reached out. The only people that have been banned for restreaming InfoWars content are not InfoWars people.
I have a feeling he would probably get stomped into the ground instantly if he tried.
Oh, I
Uh,
agree, dude.
If it's a tech company, in LA or San Francisco, that just seems to be how it goes.
Ah, jeez. I mean, that's what they want to do. Is they want to like control pretty much everything. I mean, they've been controlling the narrative for such a long time. Like, I've lost countless Twitter accounts for my battles with the Antifa crew. I'm actually currently again going after these guys. Because they're becoming more and more like domestic terrorists every single day, and it scares me, and it scares pretty much everybody else probably.
Yeah, I think the video that I did previous to the most recent Dlive one was an Antifa one. It was the whole assault on Andy No. If you saw
Mm.
that, he got
Yes,
the
I did see
shit
that.
kicked out of him. That was
Yes,
brutal.
you did. Oh, dude, that was the worst thing ever. I mean, they targeted him because of the Eloin Lenahan situation. Lenahan has been Progdad on Twitter for a very long time, a really funny progressive troll account that, he was utilizing those accounts and his inroads to basically like infiltrate like the alt-right. And all these Antifa journalists knew about it, right? But they were using him to get in to these alt right communities so they could dox them, like the unicorn riots of the world, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And poor Lenahan, like got destroyed by these guys because they're saying that he's a Nazi and all this stuff, and they know it's all not true. And I feel like Mr. No is like he was an artifact of whatever happened to Lenahan because he's related to that paper. And like these guys like Jared Holt and the rest of them, they don't want this type of freedom of speech stuff out there. They don't want people having these types of arguments anymore. They want to be able to control the complete narrative. And if they name you being a Nazi, or if their little faceless group of twin little fagglers wants to do whatever they want to do, it's okay for them to do it. But like they're attacking and silencing conservative voices, and hell, they're even silencing people on their own side that don't agree with them. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, to me, it's ridiculous. Like this is where it's got to stop. I spent in 2017 and in 2018, I spent a whole lot of time trying to go after these Antifa people, going to their bookstores and things of that nature, and actually trying to figure out who these people were. And, like, I know they don't like me, but what they're doing right now can't be let to continue. Cause I mean, it's like, it's bad. Probably like the
Yeah.
worst.
There are some people who say that it might lead to civil war. I don't think the states is at that point yet, but it's certainly going to lead to like street wars. I think. I think at some point there's going to be, Antifa out in Portland doing something stupid, and a concentrated force of somebody on the right's going to show up, and there's going to be a bloodbath. I think it's going to happen.
I mean, that's what some people are saying that's going to happen. I mean, I really hope that sort of thing doesn't happen. But that's what they've been leading us up to, since Charlottesville, since before Charlottesville. They've been really just like kind of trying to force people together to fight, and I don't really understand. I don't really understand why it's so localized in certain areas. Number one, and number two, it just doesn't seem natural. I mean, it's not like this isn't how political discourse is supposed to go in the United States whatsoever.
Well, I think the answer to number one is that some mayors just allow it, right? Because the
Hmm.
Portland mayor completely had and continues to have his police stand down whenever Antifa shows up, and he ideologically supports them. So there are some places that are just tolerant to it, like the establishment is tolerant, which is I think why it happens there more often.
No, I agree.
Meanwhile, you get the Battle of Berkeley. If you heard about that, that was like 2 years ago, where you had like 300 people on each side having a street fight.
Oh
And
yeah.
if they're not opposed, they'll keep doing it. If they're opposed, they just disperse on their own.
Mm. Well, I mean, do they really disperse on their own? I mean, this whole thing seems to be forced together. I always see the Proud Boys going after these folks, and these folks are going after these folks. And I mean, it's always in the same cities because, they seem to be beneficial to what it is, but it doesn't seem natural. Like, this isn't how the political discourse is supposed to be in the United States. Like I said before, like it's like these people are forcing something. And I mean, since when should we be fighting in the streets? And then why are we fighting in the streets for such arbitrary bullshit? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I think it really is just an extension of Trump derangement syndrome. Like I am not the hugest Trump fan. I think he is funny. I think the memes are great. He's so as a president. He's not Satan by any stretch of the imagination, but lots of people think that he is, and they think that it's just entirely unacceptable that he legitimately holds the office that he does. And so to them, the violence is all justified.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. I mean, but if you think about it, this Trump derangement syndrome was just kind of like the same thing that was going on with OBS, the Obama or ODS, Obama derangement syndrome, where like during 2008 and beyond, there was just like this entire movement of people that were one way, that were like not my president, that whole entire thing. And to me, it's strange that in that time it wasn't as violent as it is right now. It's like so much crazier than everything else. Like people were deranged back then, but now it's completely changed into this like new thought form that just doesn't even seem to make any rational sense.
Well, to me, I think, and this is a bit of a long-winded answer, which is fine because I'm kind of a long-winded guy sometimes. But to me, I think it's because the right wing of politics, generally being centered around order, whether that's tyrannical order or not, they understand boundaries and they like boundaries. They like things to be put in boxes. They like structures, so they can very easily draw lines in the sand and say, okay, here's where the right goes too far. Meanwhile, the left is very liberal. They like freedom. They don't like boundaries at all. They don't like borders. They don't like things to be defined. They kind of like to muddy the waters a bit. And there's a lot of value in that because that's where all the innovation comes from. But it also means that they have no real tool set with which to identify when they've gone too far. So they go too far routinely.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true, actually. I mean, they've gone too far in this last little attack, but the thing is this already too far for them, or do you feel like they're going to actually be able to go much farther? Because I feel like they're going to go much farther this time. I mean, they were building bombs and shit the last time.
Oh, I mean, what I mean is, I think they're definitely going to go much farther unless they're stopped. But what I mean is, like, internally, they don't seem to have a way to say this is too far. Like, if you talk to a conservative, even like a pretty right leaning conservative, if you ask him, okay, when does your own ideology go too far? They can usually tell you, and it's usually at the point of like racial superiority. They'll say, okay, I might be very far to the right, but this is the point where it goes too far. If you ask somebody who's very far to the left, when does the left go too far? They won't answer you.
Yeah, because they don't feel like they have an end. Their farness is infinite.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, that's how it is when you're kind of marching towards a utopia. Eh? Well, one thing I've noticed is that we've been going for about 20 minutes now, and we haven't actually talked about the topic.
Well, I
um,
mean, what you're talking about is really important, though. I mean, it kind of leads into the, Dlive in the sense because, like, what have you been talking about? You were saying the big thing, Dlive's a scam. I had like a 5-hour stream. I even had to talk to the guy from Lino Network, which for some reason he showed up. He's never talked to me before, but when we did that stream, he showed up, and I figured
yeah, that was interesting.
I should answer any questions you have because like I've hardly had any chances to talk to any of these guys, and the only way that I've ever been able to get like an open forum with them is like either a dipping into somebody else's stream where they're talking to them and trying to like like pay enough money so that they notice me, or b just run a stream where like we're just kind of putting it all on the table. And I've done that to them too on my channel at least a couple of times already, where I've kind of basically gone all into what Dlive is since the very beginning, and where I feel like it is right now. And it was funny to me because I've been paying attention to your videos too, and I know that what you've been doing has been affecting them psychologically definitely.
You
Like,
think so? How come?
oh yeah. Well, I feel like psychologically, like when they see guys like, big channels that are putting out videos and stuff, like they disliked it when I was doing it and they didn't want to give me, verified partner or global partner because of the things that, like I was saying, because I was being too open about how DLive works. And to them that was a problem. Like, like they want this thing to be like a fun, cool place, but once you start kicking the tires and asking a bunch of questions, the answers start to, you know, fall away basically, or you stop getting all the answers that you're asking for. Like they're only going to give you enough information to a certain point. So myself and a couple other people on this platform have been really looking at it. We got a guy that used to work for Streamlabs that knows all about streaming and everything that has to do with streaming on the platform. That we got other people that are really into cryptocurrency that have been really paying attention to like how the system operates and what they're doing, and what all this stuff. And I don't think that they realized that, like they had people that were digging this deep into all this stuff, because I think it's important, like Dlive is supposed to be around because people keep on getting deleted off of other channels, and they're trying to decentralize the ability to speak. But right now, it's not really a decentralized platform. People don't really know what the D in Dlive stands for. You know what I'm saying? Like it's supposed to be decentralized live, but it's not really decentralized right now. I
Mm,
mean, the idea is there, but it's still a centralized system.
yeah. Well, first of all, I would love to talk to that Wilson Way guy that you had on. I have a feeling he would not want to talk to me, but I would. Man, that would be fun. However, I wanted to do this because three people, well, no, more people than that, but three people that I really took notice of and watched did some reasoned critiques of my last DLive video, and one of them was Uzalu, who's a friend of mine. The other one was the Quartering, who's also a friend of mine, and the last one was you. And you're the only guy that I don't know. And like I've been able to talk to Uzalu and the Quartering offline because we're friends, and we kind of worked a bunch of things out. And then they had some good points. Like I made some mistakes in my first DLive video, and I made a couple mistakes in my second DLive video. Um, so I guess first of all, like what did you think of it? What were the positives and the negatives?
Well, I think like you were pretty straightforward with what you were coming, and I thought it was kind of negative that I didn't see that you had a DLive account. I felt like if you were trying to do like a true example justification whatever on what DLive is, it would have been more advantageous for you to like jump on the platform and use it, because obviously you don't lose anything if you're not giving up your bank account information and stuff like that. But at this point, like that was one of the main like critiques that I had, is that I didn't actually see you on the platform. I just saw you on the outside of the platform talking shit about it. And like that's some people's style. I mean, I couldn't understand that. I do the same thing. So, I'm not really hating, but I thought that was a little bit of a negative. But I mean, it seemed like in the first two videos that you did put out some I'm not going to say like bad information, because there wasn't enough information out there for you to really make a definable uh understanding of what you were looking at. And even then, like I've been on this platform since it was on another platform, Steam it. So like I'm like one of those only people that understands how this thing has changed since the very beginning and how many freaking times that it's changed. So I felt like there was a little bit more that you could have done into the Steam side of things, but the overall what you were doing is very pointed to, or was very to the point, because people are afraid of this thing. The number you're bringing up the same thing that all these other people that come into my D live streams talk about all the time. Is this a scam? Am I going to lose my money? Even if it is only like $20 worth of lino or something, is this going to affect me? Because people are very, very leery about that sort of thing. And I thought you did a pretty good job with it, honestly. Like overall, like you hit all of the chords, you got people engaged into the actually talking about what DLive is. And then obviously like DLive has this like Discord with the partner chat, and then in like another chat that they have kind of hidden away from everybody else. And I mean, they talk about this stuff because like they really do worry about the things that people are saying. But I feel like since they're such a small team, they don't really understand how to utilize like the people that are around them to try to like maybe not like defend, but like give out the proper information. Like there's a few things that need to have been done, and like a white paper, like they have like a white paper, but it's not really a white paper. It's kind of like a 3-page little thing there that they got, but it doesn't really explain enough of this to anybody who is a current cryptocurrency like investor, somebody that actually reads the white papers and tries to understand what they're investing in. Like for people like that, this place is a super leery place. So like the way that you've made your videos, I think it's been really important, because like you've been the guy that's on the outside coming in and talking about things. But after that, like I felt like you could have done more by, like being on the platform. Or I thought it would have been really super boss sauce. Like if you like big, like suck these nuts, if you would have just been streaming those things on D Live, or just like putting them on D Live while, you're talking shit about D Live, being like, oh yeah, motherfuckers, like, come on.
Well,
Because, that's why I do it.
Well, to be fair, I do have a DLive account, and I have
You
streamed there a
do.
couple times, but I kind of moved away from the platform just because my Twitch has seen some like okay growth. I might get 50 viewers, 70 viewers on there. It like on Twitch, 50 to 70 is like enough to get like a good running start at something. So I'm just kind of going to do that because, with the affiliate and with the partner, they want exclusivity. So it
Hmm.
seems to be the thing to do for me, at least at my current growth level. Um, Plus, there was the fact that I was a bit leery about how DLive was going. However, I guess I could set up like a 24-hour stream on DLive where I just loop my videos.
You could do that, but you have to make sure that you have somebody moderating your chat, or they'll shut you down.
Really?
Somebody's got to be moderated 24/7.
I remember. Oh, DragonFat can do that. I remember. I think she actually got like a little bit out of a kick of it when you said that DragonFat was right on your own stream.
Hmm.
But
She is right.
but as it stands now, regarding my previous DLive videos, like for example, one of the things that Uzlu said, and this is like a major mistake that I made, is that when I titled the second video, DLive is a scam, but not the one that we thought. I didn't make this point as clearly as I should have. My opinion is that DLive is a scam, but not a scam aimed towards us. It's a scam aimed towards their potential investors. And that was kind of like my prediction. It was like I wasn't putting it forward like it's the truth. I think what's going to happen is that anytime like any kind of tech company focuses on growth over profit or sustainability, they're looking to get bought out. They're looking for someone big like Facebook or whatever to come along, see promise in the platform and buy them. And that's what I think the scam is. I don't think these guys will ever tell anybody this is the case, but I think they're looking to grow hard for the next couple of years, and then someone's going to come along and hand them a big sack of money. And I think
That's
that's the
already
scam.
there. That's actually already there. So, like FBG Capital, the blockchain fund. I mean, they have a whole bunch of funds that are already put together for this. So, DLive already has like funding associated, and that's what's actually they're utilizing to get this thing out. But like, they already got $20 million in funding set for when this thing goes to what they call mainnet. So when it becomes an actual system and not just a test system that's currently operating, they stand to get $20 million. But as anybody knows, when you start funding a company, getting funding or anything like that, like there's usually certain things that need to be met, goals that need to be had in order for you to get, disbursements of cash. So what it seems is that they're utilizing the marketing structure, some of the money that they've gotten, most of it's getting put towards for marketing, and like then a little bit of it's getting put for actual development on the actual platform. But like, they're trying to get to that $20 million basically. Like, they already have it, they just have to pretty much meet all of these quotas in order to actually get it. So like, technically, I guess you could say it is a scam on the investors, but the investors know that they're the ones that are, they're already paying in for it. They're already getting, they're the ones that are already shelling money out for this. And there's a few of them. And I mean, they even have a volatility fund associated with this stuff to, make it so that if anything really happens, they can, kind of write themselves out of it. So I mean, it might be a scam on the investor after this investor, but like, at that point, for them to go to mainnet, they've already said that or when we spoke with Wilson, he said that there's still going to be a lot for them to do in order to get there. And the growth that they're really hoping for needs to keep staying, which other people on the platform that I've talked to have very, very clearly been like, hey man, I've been noticing that, the platform is losing viewership. And that seems to be a huge problem for some people.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're going to invest, I guess we could call it like social capital into a system, and then nothing comes out of it. Because like, let's say that you're streaming exclusively on DLive because you really want to build your following there, right? And then you invest 2 years, and you get some kind of a following, but then the site disappears. They go bankrupt or whatever. Something happens, site disappears. Now those people are gone, and you can only pray that they'll search your name on Google and find you on a different platform. But for the most part, they'll be gone. So it's a really big risk investing social capital as a creator into a platform that seems shaky just by the first look at it, let alone any kind of digs into it.
But when was your first look at DLive?
PewDiePie, definitely. It was,
I mean,
yeah.
so PewDiePie was your first look at this thing, so you never really
Actually, no,
saw
that's
how.
not true. That's not true. The first look was maybe 6 months before PewDiePie when Ethan Ralph tried to stream the kill stream on DLive. I think it didn't work out to him. Then he moved on to Stream Me, and then Stream Me went bankrupt and shut down. I think that's the story. But I had only just kind of heard of Dlive because of that. He was there for maybe like a day or two, and then after that, it was PewDiePie.
Mm. Interesting. Yeah, see, like I remember when Dlive first started out, it was on a platform called Steemit that's run through the Inno blockchain fund. They're also the people that are behind EOS. Some people would say that Steemit was basically like money laundering or something like that. I've heard a lot about crap about it. I mean, I don't really care. It's cryptocurrency. That's where Steemit is where Dlive actually started. And I mean, they were around for like almost a year so before they even moved over to this new iteration, and then there was still, I think, like 7 to 8 months before PewDiePie actually jumped on. So like DLive itself started back in, like, I believe it was like 2017, 2018, early 27 or late 2017, early 2018,
I think when I
sometime in
looked it
there.
up for the first video, it was February 2018 that they got their initial funding from Shen Fund, which is like a Chinese-based investor, like a venture capital thing. I think that's
That's
when they started.
correct.
Yeah.
So, well, that's when Lino blockchain started. Before then, they were operating off of just a disbursement. So, like, the guys that originally created DLive, they just did it on the Steemit platform. They created the decentralized application DLive, and it was running on the Steemit blockchain. And originally, all of their funding and everything came from them basically creating this platform and running it on Steemit for a very long time. Like there was a lot of people that were utilizing it on Steemit, and that was what they used to get their or secure their initial funding, and that's what created the Lino blockchain. And then now the DLive app is on the Lino blockchain because DLive is a decentralized application. It's not actually the basis for everything that's out there. DLive is only an app that could be moved to any other cryptocurrency that they wanted to. Like they could put it on ETH, they could put it on EOS, they could put it on Tron. And that's the one thing that nobody really ever talks about with the move on DLive. See, DLive is only a decentralized application. It can be moved to anywhere. The thing that everybody should be worried about with DLive and its current iteration is this Lino blockchain. You see, because the Lino blockchain is where everybody from the original Steemit platform, everybody liked it on that platform because everything seemed to be normal. But when they moved it over to their own blockchain and kind of like became the main controllers of it, that's when everybody really started coming up with all this scam stuff. I mean, if you look back at what happened with Steemit and DLive, the story is hilarious. Steemit or DLive is running on Steemit. They start coming up with like different games and stuff to get like people to make a new logo and like new colors for the website, right? They do this. They had just gotten huge funding from Steemit to be like an application so they could pay out their creators more. And they kept on doing that and they didn't tell anybody about this. And after they finished the contest where people had created the new logo and everything, that's when they announced the Lino blockchain and dipped out on the Steemit blockchain. And that was like the first big shady thing that anybody had ever seen them do, because literally they had been getting so much like money from Steemit to, like develop their application on it. And then they turn around and then just created their own system or a new system and just dipped out on everybody. And then they had the whole Steemit community that worked on this stuff for them was like super pissed, and they're still using all of that stuff right now on their website.
Yeah, I recall looking into that when I was doing my first video, and it seemed like they basically used Steemit because they kind of, at least from my layman's perspective, they went in there, learned how it worked so they could build their own, and then left and built their own. Like that's the kind of situation it seemed like from the outside.
That's exactly what they did. I mean, verbatim. And they were just using them for funding, really, to keep it going. Because I mean, this shit's not cheap, right? And once they secured their initial funding from Zen Fund, that's when you see the difference. And PewDiePie getting onto the platform was like the big jump for everybody, to start actually talking about it and be on it. But I mean, there's been so much DLive drama that's happened with like creators and stuff because of the growth that's happened because of PewDiePie. That's ridiculous. Like they've had to rechange their partner system. I think it's like 2 times now, which is, really pissing off some people that were on the platform from the very beginning, and we're already global partners but can't even make the requirements for it now. Like, so there's there's a lot that's being done within the platform, and there was a lot of like really funny, lolly, shady shit that might have happened in the past. But like it's business, right? Like I think that's how it's always been with these guys is business. You know, like they've been very clear that it's business first for them.
Yeah. I know a lot of the problems that I have do stem from funding because I don't want to make this at all a race issue. It's not a race issue. It's a government issue. If you're taking $20 million from Chinese venture capitalists, that means that the Chinese government is at least somewhere in the chain involved. And that's a serious problem for data collection and data management. It's a serious problem for free speech. It's a serious problem for a bunch of things that if you talk about, either they'll ignore you or they'll call you a racist, you know?
Mm, that's true. That's true. I mean, I've experienced that sort of thing, you know, myself on the platform where, you know, some of the bigger guys didn't want to talk to me because, you know, they didn't want to throw me a bone. And I'm like, guys, I've been in the cryptocurrency space since 2009. You know, like I've been a millionaire, done lost $1 million, been a millionaire, done lost $1 million. It's just money. It's just fake money to everybody that looks at it. So, you know, it's hard for me to really try to like be fully aware of what's happening, but like so many people are afraid of this stuff, right? And I don't know, like Dlive is a scary thing to some people because it's literally ninjaing the streaming market and they're trying to make something different, but you were very clear in your last video, which I thought was the best thing that you had done, where you were like, they are different, but they're really not that different. I mean, they're basically Lino is this monetary processing thing, but nothing that they're really doing on the main site is that different than it's on any other site. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah.
they're utilizing the blockchain. And this is the thing is everybody thinks Lino is a cryptocurrency and it's not. It's more like a token and it's really not even that at this point in time. It's more of a point. It's like just a store of value. And it's not something that's, it's not going to be like Bitcoin at all. It's not a cryptocurrency at all. And that's where people fail. Dlive is cool because it has blockchain technology associated with it. But in no way, shape, or form is it meant to be looked at as an investment. And there was a big problem I think during the early days of Dlive after they moved over to Lino, where people that were associated with it were calling it freaking investment. You know, and is it their fault? No, but there are a bunch of young guys that don't know anything about the SEC, the FEC, and how those regulations works. And I mean, they could have gotten shut down because a lot of people were saying that they were running an unregulated ICO because that's what it kind of looked like at the very beginning. But since they've released more information about how the actual platform works, we know that that's not the case because, like that would be illegal. Like Dlive can't take any, like Dlive is an application, so it doesn't take any funds or manage any funds. The Lino blockchain does, right? If
Yeah.
Dlive did that sort of thing, they could get shut down by the SEC.
Well, the whole thing with the Dlive Lino split is that when I was researching my first video, I did find that there's a lot of overlap in staff. I don't know if people have ever actually worked on both projects at once. People have gone back and forth. I've seen like people who currently work at Dlive wearing like lino sweaters. I've seen them in each other's like staff photos. There was it was who was I can't remember the name. I probably just sound racist because it's a Chinese name and they all kind of sound similar. But there was one guy who is currently at DLive on his blog 2 years ago, posting about how he's doing some coding for Lino or for Lino. So there's this overlap, and like they all went to like the same university at the same time, attended the same clubs. These are people who know each other. At some point, you have to say, you're not taking a cut, but it's the same people.
Well,
It,
they are taking a cut though. That's you're correct on that assumption. See, when we talked to Wilson, we actually got him to verify it for us that right now Lino as a platform takes 0.6% out of all the transactions and everything that's being done that goes into this like reward pool for the lock points. But so what happens is Lino or DLive doesn't take any money from you at all. Lino does all the money taken from you, but part of like any decentralized application, there becomes a reward pool that gets paid back out to the application developers, right?
yep.
So Lino is paying DLive. It's just not happening in the traditional aspect. It's not like these guys are like taking the money from Lino and giving it to themselves, but in a sense is based on the way that the platform operates and any other decentralized application platform operates. So they're the ones that are getting paid out, but they're the only ones. And so there's no other app, there's no other dApps on the platform. They won't allow anybody else to be on the platform because then they would be taking up that reward part of that rewards pool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
There is one thing I don't understand. Not completely anyway. This is one thing that I didn't know about during either of my videos, so I think it's a good idea that we talk about it. What is locking in Lino, and what does it do for you?
okay, so locking in Lino is supposed to be like staking. Have you ever looked at a proof of stake coin before?
No.
Okay, so Mint coin is a good example of a proof of stake coin. So staking is a system where instead of you being able to mine the currency, you have to have X amount of the currency. And once you have X amount of the currency, you can then stake that currency to process and validate transactions on the network. Ethereum is going to be going to a staking style system. If you look at this Dlive system, they have these things called validators. They're validating the transactions. Essentially, they're the ones that are staking the transactions. So Dlive and Lino, so like Dlive doesn't do any of this stuff. Dlive is just the application. All of the locking, staking, whatever the heck we're going to call it. I call it staking. Dlive doesn't like calling it staking, but that's just the easiest thing to call it because once you look up proof of stake, you can read the proof of stake article, and then that's basically how Dlive works. They're just changing some words around. I mean, like sue me, suck it.
Well, one thing that I noticed is now that I've watched your stream about it, I watched most of it. I couldn't watch all of it. It's quite long, but I watched most
Yeah,
of it.
it's too long.
Is that I didn't know that to get partner status or any other equivalent statuses on DLive, you had to lock in and keep locked in a certain amount of Lino. That was news to me.
Correct. Yes. So when you become a partner, affiliate, whatever, you have to lock in a little bit of Lino. And the reason they do this is because in a staking system, once you stake some coin or you lock some coin on the system, you're basically putting in your vote. So like it's a democratic democracy. That's what Lino is supposed to operate as. So like if you've ever you looked at your Lino account and if you use like Lino, you'll notice that you have these votes that you actually have to go through. So this is the voting system that's associated with pretty much any type of cryptocurrency where you either hey, we're going to vote to do this to the currency or we're going to vote not to do this to the currency. Right now it's pretty simple for Dlive where they're basically saying, okay, well, once you lock in some Lino points, whether it's 1 Lino point or I think 1,000 Lino points the minimum, once you lock in 1,000 Lino points, you can become a member of the voting community, which means that you get to make votes on actions of things that will happen on the network. So that's the reason that exists, and part of you locking that in the Dlo live sense is that they don't give you more lock points, but they give you a percentage of your lock points back and newly created points for you participating within the system. And in a staking style coin, which there's a lot of them out there, like Tendermint or Mint coin is probably one of the easiest ones to talk about, or Cosmos network is another one to talk about. These coins are basically allowing you to have a vote, secure your vote on the network. So like there's different levels of voting, right? So like you can be a low level voter who only stakes in like 1,000 coin. It means you're only voting on little stuff. And then there's people like validators who are voting on big stuff and also validating transactions on the network so that everyone else can, basically work, or so the system will continue to function. So
So
this
just out of curiosity, what do you vote on, and what does the voting do?
right now, all you're voting on, it seems to be, is where they're going to store the video. So they'll just keep asking people the same voting question over and over again because it's not actually a real voting system yet. They're still just testing and trying to see if people are even interacting with it because you kind of have to in order to get your lock points. It's basically like a testing system because in the future, when new updates are made to the system, people have to vote on it democratically altogether. And if there's not enough votes for the thing to get put in, then it does not get put in. It's just like on the Bitcoin blockchain when something needs to get updated. There's BIPs that must be voted on by inside the voter's wallet. So when you look at this currency and or this cryptocurrency, or what the Lino token is basically doing, all it is doing is securing your ability to vote on the network. So you could be like a viewer who just gives away Lino and doesn't care about the voting, or you could be like a creator, and that's why they make creators lock in Lino in the first place. Is they're like, okay, so you want to be a creator, you want to be a partner, well, you got to lock in $12 of Lino, and then that's showing us that you're willing to be a bigger part of the network. So like they have different levels of that. To be a verified partner, I think you need like 5,000 little, or 5,000 little locked. To be a global partner, you need 50,000 little locked. So like it goes from like $45, $50 a lino to like about $500-$600 a lino. And that means that you're willing to invest this much of your like money in the system to keep the system alive, so that it doesn't have to keep unlocking new coins, and that it can run more efficiently. I mean, it's pretty much the same as any other thing. Like even Steam It, the system that they were on before, worked like this. They just had different names for things. Like they have Steam Power, which is like lock points. They had Steam and then Steam Dollars. And basically all Lino did was just get rid of the Steam Dollar, and they just have the Steam and then the Steam Power.
Yeah,
So
see, as somebody who's on the outside and as somebody who uses Twitch pretty regularly, to me that sounds like, okay, Twitch is going to pay you in, rather than paying you in money, it'll pay you in Twitch bits that you can cash out for money. However, if you want to make affiliate or you want to make partner on Twitch, you have to agree not to cash out some of those bits. Now, putting it like that makes it sound like, I don't know if I want to do that. I do like getting a paycheck, you know?
I do like getting a paycheck too. I had to lock 50,000 bits for global partner, didn't get it. Now I have to wait 3 months to get that cash.
That's right. It takes 12 months. It takes 12 weeks to come out once you unlock it, right?
And you don't earn anything on it when it's in the unlocking phase. So like when it's locked, you earn rewards on it being locked. But as soon as you unlock it, you don't earn any rewards unlocking it, and you have no access to it for 30
Right.
days, and that are for 12 weeks. And that's kind of the same way that it worked on Steam. Steam, you would take your Steam and turn it into Steam Power so you could get bigger upvotes and bigger rewards, but it still took like 12 weeks. If you tried to unlock it, it took 12 weeks for you to get the full power.
Right. Just real quick, people in the chat room, I'm going to read the super chats at the end of the stream. Thank you very much, though. I do want to ask, when it comes to voting, how is it? Is it basically like one lino is one share, and if you have more lino in, you have like a bigger vote? That's how it works.
Pretty much, like you have a more of a vote, your vote has more weight, and then you'll be able to get more stuff. Hi, Jay Anon, we see you in the chat. I see you over in Otaku's chat because I'm watching it as well. Don't worry, I have tons of haters out there. Like James, he's a hater. He's a hater. So with the voting right now in Lino, it doesn't really give you like power. Like they still haven't really associated exactly how well it's going to work and how it's going to operate. So that's kind of like a negative, because should be in a white paper somewhere where I could read it to you and like fully understand it, but I can't because they haven't put it out there basically.
Yeah. But so when you're doing your voting, does it only concern the Lino network, or does it concern Dlive as well? Like, can you vote on Dlive policy or just Lino policy?
You can vote on both, I believe. So you're going to be voting on stuff. Whatever you're going to be voting on things that affect the entire Live network, and then there should also be votes. If you're using Dlive, you should be able to interact and vote with that platform. But they currently haven't had. The only vote that they currently ever have is where would you like your Dlive videos stores, and the questions are decentralized storage, centralized storage, and I don't care. And most people just put I don't care because they don't.
I wonder how many tokens we need to lock to get them to remove their hate speech clause in their terms of service.
I don't think that they're gonna really do that. But the thing is
Yeah.
like they're not like, I've already talked to Alan and a couple other people about what they consider to be hate speech, and I mean their thing is that they're just gonna probably flick the switch on people and make them an X stream so they can't be seen on like the main thing unless you flip the toggle switch. But like they don't seem to have any problem with any type of racism or hate speech whatsoever. I mean like I've watched Mersh sit on the main page calling people naggers, I said naggers.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard him call people everything under the book. I've heard all of the Jew haters be up there. I've heard all the Mexican haters up in there. I mean, they don't seem to, unless you're like really bad. Like, I mean, you got to be really bad and have people like, put in Heil Hitler and shit like that in your chat and like spamming it and stuff like that for them to even do anything. Like, I've seen people get kicked off, but it's because like the shit that they're doing is so blatant. It's just like, what are you guys thinking, right? Like, it's not like, you remember on YouTube when YouTube started out, like there was just masses of channels where they have 1,500 people fucking watching, and those 1,500 people would be like the massive troll army that are going all over the place. And I mean, on Dlive they seem to be a little bit more open to it. Like, they'll automatically change your username if it's like something hateful, like I hate blank, or kill all blank. Like, they'll change that, but then in 30 days you could change it back, right? Because so
Yeah.
like they have all of the same problems that all of the other platforms have. Like, you figure that there's a blockchain, they could like have a list of banned usernames, or like, okay, here's all the fun stuff that we're taking off of the table that you guys can't do so that we can keep our platform. But as long as it's not in here, they're out there. So like they have broad strokes on hate speech, but the thing is like they're just like Twitch, they're just like Mixer in a lot of the sense, like they're trying to get that money, and they're already talking about having advertisers.
Yeah, that was the
So
thing that I managed to get out of Stone Crypto, which I hadn't heard before ever, and that was a major problem that I had with it. In the Quartering's critique of my video, he asked how come I didn't like the idea of DLive getting ads, and it's not that, like, ads are just fine. However, ads, they're a point of weakness on any site, because if you want to go after a site, you attack the advertisers. We saw this with Steven Crowder and Carlos Maza. Wherever you fall on that conversation, Carlos Maza, he caused an apocalypse, and he fucked everyone. You know, um, we've seen multiple apocalypses hit YouTube for multiple different reasons. If you're somebody who has the ear of the media, or you're part of the media, you can attack and take down a site. Like, if YouTube can't stand up to these people, and DLive introduces ads, they're not going to be able to stand up to them either.
mm, oh, that's true, man. Hey, man, you're talking to somebody that's dealt with direct. I got my channel deleted before because of these mother suckers, and like they've reported me. I've lost Twitter accounts and all this other stuff due to I've been banned for hate speech, and I'm not a hateful guy. I mean, I don't know, calling somebody a fag is hateful nowadays. I guess whatever. Um, but like I don't like these policies, like when I was doing my big Antifa takedowns, that's when my channel got deleted in the first place, because these motherfuckers didn't like having that shit out there about them on the internet, and like they tried to get rid of it. And honestly, like the political discourse shit aside, I just think that it's ridiculous. Like these ad apocalypse that people try to have. Carlos Maza is mad because some guy's calling him a fairy or a faggot or something like that. And I mean, he's it's fine for him to say that or do that, but like what these people have been doing online, like is trying to subvert actual speech. And, like you can't get mad at Steven Crowder for saying what Steven Crowder says, because Steven Crowder is Steven Crowder online saying those things. So if Mazza gets mad about it, that's whatever. I mean, he could try to sue him for defamation or something like that, but nothing that he's saying is probably defamation. So it's like this ideology that people have that they're going to utilize their skills to take people out. And I mean, I've even worked in companies that apparently, like operated on that type of principle where, we go and we look into people and we see exactly how deep, their range goes, and, how you can fuck with them the most effective way, or, find information out about them. It's no different, like everybody's running gay ops on each other. I feel like it's just that, the last round of it just kind of made it seem really clear what it was really all about. And I mean, Carlos Maza, he's a super ultra lefty. I mean, I can guarantee you he's one of the main promoters of like these Antifa people. His name hasn't come out as like one of the main originators, the journalists that are helping these guys do their thing. But You know, like, was he wrong for being mad at Steven Crowder and, like, constantly ragging on him on a show and shit? I mean, yeah, I guess, whatever, fuck that guy. I mean, I don't like either of them. I respect their channels and whatnot, but, like, honestly, like, the type of shit that they put out, it's always about political discourse. It's always about who's better or who's this, or, fuck this guy for saying this about me, or screw that dude for saying this about me. I hate that shit, dude. Like, to me, it
Yeah.
just does, it creates the problems. Like, these kinds of people create the problems, and
To
they're
me,
doing it for views.
to me, it's more like if they want to have their fight, they can have their fight. But the minute that you go after somebody's livelihood rather than just continue with the banter is kind of the minute that you've lost, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like for all of the things that Steven Crowder did, he didn't try to get Carlos Mazza fired from what I think is he Vox or Vice? I'm not sure.
Box.
Vox, yeah. So he didn't try to get him fired. He wouldn't have been able to, but he didn't even try.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different kind of thing. But yeah, in terms of Dlive and ads, like I don't know if that's gonna work. It might.
Dude, it'll work. I mean, they really want it. It seems like it. I mean, that's part of their roadmap apparently that they need in order to get to their $20 million is they need to have ads on the platform. So if they don't have ads on the platform, they can't get to their $20 million. So, like, it's gonna be there, but like, it's up to them to show the creators how they're going to implement it and how it's going to be unintrusive to the way that we do things, and then how they're going to shield us and be different than these other ones. And we talked about this with them a little bit. We're like, hey, is there going to be ability for us to say that we don't want to fucking run ads on our channels, and we could just opt out, or be able to select, if I don't want to work for this company, like, if I don't want to have Nike ads on my shit, can you say that? I was like, is that going to be a possibility? Like, with blockchain technology, it should be possible, but it's been very clear to me since I started talking with the various different people that work in the platform that they're trying to do as much as they're trying to do what they need to do in order to get their money, and like anything that's going to be in their eyes, if they think it's going to take them too long to do it, or it's going to be a crazy amount of work, like they'll just be like, okay, we'll try, and then we get like the basic implementation of what it's supposed to be. And with them, they're going to probably implement ads. They'll probably get paid out in Lino for something, and then they might even have a system where you can earn Lino by watching ads, that sort of thing. So to me, it's weird, but I mean, I just don't. To me, it seems too early for them to do all that sort of thing, because like right now it seems like viewership is going down, and this is information taken from, I had a Sunday meeting with a bunch of different people where we were talking about all of this stuff, and that was the same time when Wilson had came in, and we're going to do this again next Sunday, because like there's a lot of people that are on the platform that like want to speak up and want to talk about this shit, but they don't want to do it because they don't want to like get in trouble or not get their global partner or not get this. And I mean, I could give a shit about all this stuff, because like, I guess I'm set and I'm gonna do this anyway. But to me, it seems really strange that like they're listening to us, but they're not listening to us, right? And they're still doing really weird like giveaway things and other shit that just doesn't make any sense. That like,
Yeah. I know that there's been some controversy surrounding the chest changes on Dlive, but I'm not exactly sure what that's all about.
mm. Okay, so their original chest was this cool thing where like if you were watching somebody stream and chatting, it would fill up this chest, and once the chest would fill up, you would like hit the chest and you'd get like 1 to 4 lino, something like that. Not a very big amount. And people really liked that, because like it was just something that you could always have, so you'd be watching your stream and then you could just be earning your lino just from watching it. And that was like a really good mechanic that they had, that obviously people figured out how to finagle, because they have like 40 different web browsers, and they were open, and they were just basically tried to like farm lino that way, leaving a 24/7 stream open and then allowing people to farm lino off of it. So they made the big change to the chest where it's now a streamer thing where all the money still gets generated, so to speak, where, from chatting and whatnot, but that all gets put into a singular chest that the streamer then has to open it up. And originally people liked it. Well, some people liked it because they could just throw bunches of lino into the chest and then they could get a bunch of people watching them really easily because they're all just like, oh my god, give me some of that chest action. So like it changed the dynamic of the site, and I think a bad way. Like it used to be this thing where I didn't have to fuck with the chest, right? Like the chest was its own thing. If you wanted to engage with the chest, that was your deal, right? But with the new chest, now I have to be the one that dishes it out. So now there's people that just come into your chat room and just be like, open the chest, open the chest, like, or
And then
open it.
you open it and they leave, basically.
Exactly. Or you could then they limited the amount of that you could put in the chest weekly, so it's like 10,000 linos. So it's like people are running giveaways on their channel just to get people in there, and then they'll like hold the chest for a while, and then they'll let it out a little bit later. But I mean, it's just totally changed the dynamic of the site, and I just like it's really like I think it's hurt creators more than it helps creators, and it's just because if you don't have money, you can't just keep loading that thing up, and if you're not getting donations, you're not going to be able to load that thing up. So there's no longer any reason for somebody to just hang out in your stream and just talk to you, where you don't have to, like, now it's like this connected thing that you have to give out. And Dlive only did that because people were abusing the old chess system, but as far as we can tell now, people are doing the same thing with the new one.
Yeah. One of the in the Quartering's critique video, or it was a stream rather, in his critique thing of me, he said that I brought up a lot of good points about like the 6% skim through inflation and some shady practices and all this. However, it's still reasonable for somebody to simply use Dlive as a streaming platform and not deal in Lino at all. Don't deal with the chest. Never cash out your stuff. Just stream there and talk to your chat, and that's it. And I guess if you were to do that, that's completely fine. It seems like all the scummy parts are coming from the Lino and not the service itself, because the service itself seems to be fine. Streams run pretty well. The quality's all right. The chat is in some ways better than Twitch, in some ways worse, but it's pretty good. So I do think that if you have like a pre-built audience, like the Quartering, he streams there. Sargon sometimes streams there. They just bring their audiences over. If you have a pre-built audience that you're bringing over and you just want to use the platform, you're probably safe. There's no chance of you losing any money, I think. Or you can like just run Streamlabs, right? And just get money from Streamlabs. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you could get money from Streamlabs. You could use the Lino system. Like I've taken payments from Lino. I've requested payments, and I've gotten paid out every single time that I've requested a payment. So, I mean, I've never had any problems getting paid off of it. And actually, I got to be honest, is that my revenue went up once I started using Dlive, because, that 35% that they take on super chats, adds up even through Streamlabs. Like Streamlabs only is taking whatever the processing fees are. But even then, like, I still get more money if people are giving me Lino directly, because once I check out the Lino, I'm just getting cash anyway. It's all like, I have to go through the Lino network to get paid, which sucks. But I mean, overall, I have gotten paid, and I've been able to request payments from them, and have always, gotten my shit. Hell, I think actually a couple of people told me the last little round of payments that they did, they accidentally double paid everyone, or a bunch of people.
Really?
Yeah, so that was funny as hell, actually. So like they had to have a bunch of people like had sent half the money back, right? But like some people didn't. So there's still some people out there that they're kind of pissed off about, I think. But
yeah. And I may have, in the first video, not the second video, but in the first video, been like, can you actually get paid on Dlive? Because when the PewDiePie thing first dropped, everyone was like looking into the site, and a bunch of people were saying it seems like you can't actually get your money through Lino, and everyone was like, oh shit, is this actually the case? And for a while I thought it was the case, but I mean very clearly you got paid. You can get paid. However, it is a system that in some ways incentivizes you to not get paid, at least partially. If you're locking in Lino, if you get some kind of tangible benefit for refusing to cash it out, then it does incentivize you passing up a paycheck. and
Well,
like you say that like keeping the lino locked in adds to the stability of the system. Well, then if people say I'm gonna withdraw it because I need money, then conceivably that would mean that the system is less stable with every withdrawal, and it
yeah,
might be like a feedback loop where if people just say, you know what, this is going down, I'm getting my money out, it'll just accelerate the decline.
correct. It's exactly correct. Well, here's an example. I have a friend on the platform. He streams on Mixer. He's got 150,000 on Mixer like followers. On Dlive, he for some reason started buying and locking just obscene amounts of Lino points because he didn't understand that Lino was a static value and that it's never going to go up and it has a deflationary value of like 0.6% over the year. So
Mm-hmm.
you, in order for them to cover whatever that is coming off, they give you, newly fresh minted lino in your wallet so that you can have it. So he's got 1.5 million lino. That's like $18,000 of lino.
Mm-hmm.
So off of that amount of lino, his lock point bonus daily is about 50, is about, he says it's anywhere from 25 to $50. So like his investment on, even though we're not supposed to use the I word, the investment, he invested this thinking that his investment in lino is $18,000. So he gets about $50 a day, which I mean, I don't know what the math is on that, but that's not a lot. I mean, if you just times that by 30, you can see that it's really not, it's about $1,500 a month in like newly minted lino that he could technically spend or relock or do whatever he wants with it. And in this sense, it was like a stupid idea for him to ever lock this much lino because he figured, oh, if I lock a bunch of lino and stuff, like the platform will care about me more. And what we've seen is that that's actually not the case. They don't give a shit about how much lino you have locked in. That doesn't have any bearing on whether they're going to talk to you or not. So he's making money, it's like a part-time job, minimum wage job just from locking lino points, but he had to invest $18,000, and I still think that him putting that into some other digital currency like Bitcoin or something would have probably been a better investment for him overall. But it does show you that like the system is working. Like he does get that daily, there is money coming in daily, and it is cash out. You can cash it out. You used to be able to cash it out to PayPal, and used to be able to buy with PayPal. Everybody knows that that's stupid with digital currency though, so like a bunch of chargebacks happened around PewDiePie time, so they removed that option. But they've added other ways of buying it with credit cards and whatnot, and then there's always the options that you can get paid out. You can. Like people have gotten paid. I've gotten paid. It's like bi-weekly now, I think.
Right, right. So this guy, and I think he was on your stream. I think I remember he was the Shades guy, right?
Yeah, that's Shag's
And,
guy.
and he was eating spaghetti or something.
Yeah, he
But
was eating spaghetti.
I remember that. Yeah. So this guy has put in $18,000 and he gets his 25 to 50 a day, and then conceivably 6 months down the road, before the skim catches up with him, he could unlock that money and potentially get it. So now the question has to be asked: if the ads aren't running yet, and it's just a bunch of tokens changing hands, and people start withdrawing, where does that money come from? It has to come from somewhere eventually, you know?
Well, the money always comes from what people are paying into the system. So, like, they have a volatility fund, it sounds like, that is helping them cover, like their basic needs and like paying people on the DLive team and the Lino team to keep operating. But all the money that comes in from Lino that's floating around the system comes in from people actually buying into it. So, like, guys like Outless that purchased it and locked it, guys like me that I've bought Lino before just to see if how it worked. I bought with both cryptocurrency and regular currency just, to test. I did it live. What they say right now is that all the current Lino that is put into the system, that's in the system, is all purchased Lino that people have bought in since it started. So whatever's floating out around there is stuff that's already there. Where the shadiness, I'm going to say shadiness, comes from is that they have like these giveaways and stuff, and they're not too clear on where all this like newly created Lino. Like when PewDiePie came in, he donated it $50,000 worth of Lino. Well, where did all that lino come from? Who paid in 50K to put all that in? And then where's all the money from the payouts on that coming from? That's where it was weird because when they do those types of giveaways and stuff, they're not abundantly clear that this is coming from, our marketing budget. And, if their marketing budget is $50,000, I mean, Jesus. So they gave PewDiePie 50K and they just let him give it away. That's crazy.
Yeah,
It's kind
yeah,
of,
definitely.
it could be funny magic money.
I have a feeling it's Chinese investor money personally, but I can't prove that. It's just a hunch.
I sent you a thing that proves that, bro.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Is it The Legend of Lemon?
Yes, the Legend of Lemon, my
All
friend.
right.
That
Let
right
me.
there.
Here, what I'll do is I'll share my screen so everyone else can also see The Legend of Lemon. Got to make sure nothing's. Man, I did a stream one time and someone had transsexual porn on their screen share. I was like, thanks for nuking my channel, pal. I think the
What
chat room
the
knows
hell?
who that was. I'll see a few names in the chat room in a minute of who that was. So here we go, Legend of Lemon. I do not know a single thing about Legend of Lemon, so maybe you could get us through here. Where do we start on this flowchart?
Start on the left-hand side. So if you see right there, there's a volatility fund. It says volatility token fund.
Yes,
So
there it
there's
is.
So this is like basically the entirety of what we've been able to figure out who's investing in. So you can see Polychain Capital, FBG Capital, FinTech Blockchain Group. So like that's your China money right there. These are the Chinese investors that people have been talking to about investing in this one. And if you notice, there's a little line that goes down from FBG Capital to exchanges, and then you see Binance,
Yep.
OKEX, and a few other ones. So if you notice, FBG Capital and their friends have been investing in all kinds of cryptocurrencies. Like they're heavily invested in EOS. They're also heavily invested in something called In Blockchain, which is the original group that funded Steemit and was also running Steemit and then also moved over to EOS. So you can see that there's a lot of like weird investors that seem to be that were already out there in the crypto exchanging world. And one of the biggest names is Eric Meltzer, Wheat Pond. He's been running this Satoshi treasure hunt where they're like, oh, if you find all this money, you can get $1 million in Bitcoin, even though he's a fucking idiot because the actual Satoshi treasure hunt is for 300 Bitcoins and they're somewhere in Texas. So who knows if anybody's actually ever going to be able to figure that out. There's just something to do with the genesis of the blockchain. Go to the genesis block. There's something that's hidden inside of the genesis block. If you zor something, you'll get the name and then you'll be able to figure out, how to go onto it. But Meltzer has been in the cryptocurrency space for a very, very long time, and he's connected to something called Blockstream, which allows you to sign Bitcoin transactions using satellites. So, like, you don't have to actually have the internet to check your functions. Meltzer's pretty interesting at all of this stuff because some people like him, some people hate him, but he's all up in EOS and with this Chinese investor money. And then if you see that little block above EOS and Zen Fund, you see there Zen Fund and investors, you can see that Zen Fund is basically connected to one of the biggest cryptocurrency government funds out there. And Zen Fund is being invested in by the same investors that are going to the Lemoncracy, or what's actually holding Lino and what's founding Lino. So if you want to see who's actually doing it, Zen Fund, Sequoia Capital, Polychain Technical, and Blockchain, FBG Group, all of these funds together are what are actually making Dlive run right now, and they seem to be directly connected to Chinese government accounting funds, which is correct.
Yeah, I just had that hunch. It turns out I was right.
Yeah, I mean, you're completely right. That's definitely a China blockchain crazy group thing over here. I gotta take a dab real quick. Just give me a second.
Yeah, no problem. So I just put that link, The Legend of Lemon. I just put it into the chat room, guys. If you want to take a look, all of those. I mean, I kind of feel like one of those people who you know that meme where it's like the guy who has like a cigarette and a coffee and he's all manic and he has like he has like all the lines on his wall of all these pictures and all the connections. I kind of feel like that right now, but I put it in the chat if you want to see it yourself.
There you go. Yeah, see, that's the thing is that the Legend of the Lemon is pretty big because there's a lot of really big cryptocurrency heads in there. And some of these people know me and they don't like me, but they don't like me because they know that if I really wanted to, I could probably end the game. for
Oh yeah.
everybody. I mean, we've been trying to end the game for a while now. Like, there's been a new token and system that's been working out. I'm not supposed to talk about it because it's not launched yet, but it was a resistance.io. You can't look at it in the US right now, but it's an interesting take on cryptocurrency and exchanges. And like I wanted to do something like this, like when Lino or Dlive was first coming out. Like, this is actually was a thing that I was looking at, and as soon as I saw these guys were working on it, I decided to go for something better. And it's better, it's done, but it has nothing to do with live streaming or anything like that.
You
But
can see it in Canada. I just went there.
oh yeah, you can see it in Canada because you're in Canada.
Yeah,
You
man,
can't
looks
see it in the
good.
you can't see it in the United States. And like, I've always been in this since I started this space. Like, I lost 27 bitcoins in the Mount Gox debacle. Back then, that was like $25 or something like that. So I wasn't really pissed off about it. But over time, it's become like a sizable loss. Okay. So since then, the biggest problem in cryptocurrency has always been exchanges, and this is a singular point of failure, in my opinion, in the Lino blockchain, since Lino isn't truly a decentralized blockchain yet. Not everybody's got a copy of it. There's still, like finackery that could happen if you could get control of 1/3 of the validators that are on the network. You could basically like take over the network. And the reason being is because it utilizes something called the Byzantine fault tolerance in order to actually operate. And this is probably the biggest piece of information that you missed when you were looking into the Legend of Lemon. So all this stuff that I'm showing you here right now is really great, with the Legend of Lemon, but I want you to go to cosmos.network. It's a website, so
Okay.
cosmos.network.
Cosmos.network. Here it is.
Okay. So Atom is a is a token that's already out there and available. Atom is it's like a cryptocurrency, but it's more of like a crypto token that allows you to interact with their ecosystem of connected blockchains. So the Lino network actually in its entirety is just a byproduct of this Cosmos thing. So if you click on where it says what is Cosmos on the top bar.
All right.
So Cosmos is basically an ecosystem. It's a decentralized network of independent parallel blockchains that are each powered by something called BFT, or is the Byzantine fault tolerance, and it's a consensus algorithm that's used by Tendermint consensus. So when I said mint coin earlier, mint coin was the first staking coin that then turned into Tendermint that eventually became what is called the Cosmos network. I've actually built stuff on this before. I built a cryptocurrency called Ohm Wallet or Ohm Coin, and basically this cryptocurrency was for acts of kindness. If you did an acts of kindness, you could and submit them, you could get it in there. Dude, how come I could see a little thing up there on your little like block thing that says porn?
It's my porn bookmarks.
Oh, nice, man. We should check those out later. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I've streamed on Sargon's channel where we play like Dungeons and Dragons sometimes, and other people's channels, and they always comment, "Sargon, it's your porn." That's why I have it there. You get like 5,000 people watching a YouTube stream, and they're all like, "Sargon's porn."
Oh man, that's good. Sorry, just my eyes. I just was reading your screen. I was like, "Does that say porn, man?" Good. That's really good. So Cosmos is important because Cosmos is the system that runs Lino. So Lino is in the middle. Let's say, or I'll put my hand on the top up here. Say this is Dlive. So this is a decentralized app for Dlive. Then there's Lino network, and then there's Cosmos on the bottom. So Cosmos is the thing that runs everything. So Lino network is just a byproduct of the Cosmos network. So Lino wasn't technically like they didn't do anything crazy, redesign the wheel or anything like that. They just used this system to create their shit basically. And it utilizes all of their application networking consensus systems, and then they're leveraging it for their own parallel blockchain that's running. So their parallel blockchain is the Lino blockchain, but the Lino blockchain is running on and in tandem with the Cosmos blockchain. So to the point where you could actually look up the Lino network, or you could look up like the Lino network on Cosmos and see, like how much they have staked into their actual entire network as a whole.
That's interesting. Can I do that here? Or?
Yeah, I think if you go to developer portal or ecosystem, no, yeah, ecosystem. That's the
Okay.
one. And there should be like a little, like a hub that actually lets you
Oh,
go
there it
look
is.
at. You see how his
Yeah.
Lino network shows you all the different stuff that's available for him.
Let's see.
Uh,
That just brings you to. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
okay, what I want you to go to click on is click on the community hub, and then there's going to be a bunch of wallets and things.
Oh wait, you mean on
Cosmos.
Lino.network or Cosmos.network?
On Cosmos.network. Now click on Cosmos Hub and then
Yeah.
scroll down a little bit.
All right. Cosmos Hub wallets and
A little farther. And
okay.
go to the Cosmos Hubs Explorers and then click on the one that says like Big Dipper.
Big Dipper. Let's see.
So
Let's
now
see what we got.
this right here will show you all of the stuff that's currently operating on the Cosmos network itself. And if you look up Lino, you should be able to actually find Lino on
Just
there
search
in the
Lino.
search. You
So
might
we
be able
got.
to, it might not work. It's not working for
Mm,
me either. Her, go back one, just go back one and go to Hubble. That one usually works pretty good.
Hubble.
Yeah, and then click Cosmos Hub 2, and then you should see all the validators that are listed. And if you search those validators, you should find one for Lino. And it'll
There
say
it is.
Lino Network.
There it is.
So they so it's really funny because they created their system off of this other system, so all of the associated material is going to be here. And they don't have any voting power. They haven't been actively voting. If you see right here, it says April 25th. If you scroll down a little bit, the only person that's ever invested any voting power into Dlive on the Cosmos network has basically been me. So like at the very bottom, there's an event history and it shows you the most recent events. You can
Yeah.
see that it used to be really high and then now it's not high. So you can see that somebody increased their voting power to 3, that was me, and then somebody increased it to 9 and then to 46, so that was all me. And then they turn their system off, and then now they haven't been on the voting system for a while now. But Lino operates on Cosmos, so like I was paying a bunch of money into Lino, and then I went online on my live stream, and then I bought a bunch of Cosmos with like some Dogecoins I had or something like that, and I bought a bunch of them on Cosmos, and I started validating and staking their node within Cosmos to try to see what was going on. And then this is where it gets weird. So you were talking to me about this like wallet that you had found, right? Have you remember
Yeah,
that
I
F
do.
wallet that you
I
linked?
have that up actually, and that was something that I did want to bring up on this stream as well. So I found this on Etherscan, and it shows that 99.94% of all Lino or Lino, I don't know if it's Lino or Lino, it doesn't really matter. Of all Lino in existence is held by one wallet. Like like almost 10, like it's 9,994,000,000 Lino held in one wallet, and then the next highest account is 147,000. So it seems like one person holds 99.95% of all of it. And then what I wanted to ask regarding this, I mean, maybe I'm way off base here, is that like if you ever wanted to lock in your Lino and then do voting, so one person holds this much, you're never going to be able to outvote them ever,
Yeah, that's true, but then again, like depending on how the consensus works, scroll up a little bit. So this is an ERC20 token for it, and according to the Lino founders, this token was made for an airdrop. So like they originally going to be airdropping a whole bunch of tokens to different people. This is what they say. Okay, so if you click on transfers, click on where right next to holders, click on where it says transfers.
Yep.
You notice that 7 days ago was the last transfer of Lino to somebody, and you'll see that there's still like transfers that are happening. So they say that this thing is currently not active, but it's active as of a week ago, and nobody can really explain what's going on. So the Cosmos thing here is important now. So if you should probably do a specific stream basically on Bubble Us on that Bubble Us thing, the Legend of the Lemon. There's some links on there that are going to show you that some people believe that Cosmos is a connector in the sense where it helps you destroy one blockchain and put it into another blockchain. Okay. So some people were thinking, and I think it's like the third link from the bottom, it says Cosmos transfers wealth from one blockchain to another.
Let's see if I can find it. I don't know. I don't see it.
Oh, it's like in the middle. It says Cosmos transfers wealth from one
Oh,
blockchain to
yep.
another.
Yeah, there's two
And
of them
then,
here. Huh? Yeah.
yeah, click on the one on the top. The one on the top.
Yep. Here it is.
No, not that one. That
Oh,
one's
no.
right above that one.
That seems to be it.
Really?
There's Cosmos transfers wealth from one blockchain to another, like Swift does for big banks. Then
Oh,
there's
that
the
was supposed to be a link.
blockbeats.com and then
Uh,
Cosmos.network. Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess that one, the Cosmos blockchain one that you clicked on, should be helpful enough. I think it has enough information there.
Okay. So, no thanks. God damn it. God damn it.
You're like, ah!
Most
Yeah.
comprehensive guide ever.
So this guide basically tells you about what's up with this entire blockchain, right? And looking at everything that they tell you about it, it tells you about scalability and interoperability.
I would
There's a
love
little
to.
X right here.
Hold on, I can't
There's a little
see it.
X next to the 2.
Next to the 2. I can't. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's so white.
I know, dude. It's so freaking white.
All right. Yeah, here we are. So it says, what is the cost of what comes from the guide? There's the scalability and interoperability problem.
So the reason they chose Cosmos is because like not everything is happening within the validators. They're also utilizing the Cosmos network to kind of like speed things up. And what some people think is that that actual the Ethereum account, that ETH wallet that we've been looking at, is actually all of the Lino that's existed. So like Lino network owns all the Lino that's in existence, right? So that would be like the big number right there. And that account is the one that's been dishing out actual Lino to people. But according to like the way that things work in the SEC, that would be against the law, right?
Yeah.
So,
but that is what it looks like to me. Like this looks like somebody 7 days ago decided to purchase 20 Lino to donate to somebody, and so
exactly.
this is the account that gave it to them.
But the
That's what
thing
it
is,
seems like.
you can't buy 20 Lino.
No.
No, you can't buy 20 Lino. Like that's the
And-
thing, is that it's not actually that's not actually for that. Like the lowest amount of Lino that you can buy is 88. So
Yeah,
like
there's
this
5,
isn't
there's 10, there's 0.2. Like, I wonder what these are. I wonder what these all are.
exactly. It's like somebody's running something over here. You see one that was 46 days ago for 2000. Like this might be like something else entirely, but it looks like they've been messing around. And what I've been thinking it is this is a wallet that's slowly unlocking Lino over time for their system, basically. So like it's not actually unlocking Lino, but it's like storing it, so whenever anybody puts any value into something that they haven't told us about yet, basically. Like I think this has more to do with the fund, the Inno blockchain fund, and the investors than it actually does with this. So you see how there's a shitload of addresses and a shitload of transfers on it.
Yep.
This right here isn't all the addresses. Like this is all Ethereum addresses, and this means that they're linking Ethereum addresses with tokens that are associated to this Lino supply. So to me, this almost looks like a private sale or something like that, which would be technically illegal under United States policies.
I see. It is
But they
interesting.
say,
I didn't know enough about this to see that. The only thing that I saw was just that one account held this much, and therefore, if it's voting based on locked-in points, you'll never be able to overcome whoever has this much.
yeah, but those aren't blocked.
Oh, they're not
They
locked at
wouldn't be
all.
locked. Yeah, see, like for them to be
Oh, that's
locked,
right.
you're taking them off of the trade market completely. So, like, essentially, that would be like looking at the whole entire pool of Lino, and as it gets released from the into the live network, it's getting sent from that number one address to all the other addresses. But you can see that right now, this thing more kind of looks like it's like a stock or something like that. Like these are shares in something. And they say that this thing is no longer in operation, that nobody's using it, but like it shows very clearly that the thing's still doing something, and nobody's telling us what this thing is. Nobody's telling us what this thing is doing, and I think it's got something to do with the Cosmos network. And this is the interoperability fund, basically, where they have like this Lino, or they have an Ethereum contract that's actually delving out the tokens, and this is all done through the Cosmos network, but we don't see any of that stuff because the Lino network, actual like system is what we're looking at. So like this right here is connected, but I think it's separate in the way where it's actually working with the Cosmos hub and not the actual Lino network itself. And this is like showing us, okay, here's all the tokens that are going to be, and this is our current distribution of all to all these different addresses, and all these addresses with the T extends and whatnot seem to be connected to whatever Lino account holders out there. Which, I mean, I don't think that there's 119,000 people that are utilizing Dlive, but if you think about it, the largest PewDiePie stream was like right at 115,000 viewers. So the
Yeah.
numbers are
So
actually
maybe.
there.
Yeah, maybe. Actually, that kind of reminds me. Let me see if I can find it here. You introduced me to this, the rich list. I hadn't seen this before your stream. I find it quite interesting.
This is a good one.
Yeah. So my outsider's understanding is that here's your Dlive names. PDP is PewDiePie. He's number one. Got your reputation, the amount of unlocked Lino in the account, the amount of locked Lino in the account. That's pretty self-explanatory. Total Lino, total USD, total earnings USD. So what this says to me is that PewDiePie, number one, has no locked Lino. He hasn't bothered locking a single bit.
Correct.
And it seems like he's been withdrawing all of it.
Correct.
So he's made $52,000. He's just been taking the money and running, which I guess if you were in his pace, you'd do. It kind of makes sense. You got a fellow here, Tidy's bot, who has 1 million locked in, and he's withdrawn nothing. He has no earnings. There's a zero right there. So it seems like, to me, maybe what the scam is, and this is just a maybe, this is just my hypothesizing kind of on the fly. Maybe the scam is that you get people invested in Dlive to the point that they're willing to give up large chunks of their paycheck in order to lock it in, to get maybe more, to get what they believe is more clout with the company, or maybe to be able to hit some kind of benchmark or get partner or something, to get you something with the service. And maybe that's the scam, is that you got this guy here who hasn't taken a single dollar out of like millions of tokens, which translates to what, at least a 5-figure income.
That million tokens or something like that. It's like 25,000 or something like that.
25,000. So yeah. he could have withdrawn that, gotten 25,000. Instead, he said, nope, I'm not going to withdraw it. I'm going to lock it, because they believe that there's something good at the end of the locking in rainbow. Maybe that's the scam.
Well, Tidy works for Dlive as well.
Oh yeah,
he's one of the guys that works for him, and so is Lynn, so is Charles Wan. So like the 2, 3, and 4 are people that work for the system. Number 1 is PewDiePie, and then number 5 is our friend Atlas,
right?
Who has now locked in another 190,000 Lino. You dumbass! Now he's got 21,000 Lino locked in USD. But you can see he's only earned $36 because he's literally locked every single little bit in. And if you go to his stream right now, which he's probably streaming on it, you'll notice that, he's like not even one of the big guys on the platform. He just believes in Dlive so much that he doesn't care if people are telling him that, you should probably not have, pretty much what somebody would make in an entire year on a minimum wage job in your Dlive account. But hey, this people do what they want to do. You know what I'm saying?
People in the chat are asking, what's the point of locking it in? We went over this earlier. However, I think I can give you like a very quick version of it. Basically, you lock it in. You can't touch it. If you want to unlock it, it takes 12 weeks. You gain a little bit of interest on it. However, it gives you voting shares for the company, supposedly, which hasn't panned out yet, but that's the plan. And it's one of the requirements to hit partner. is to
Hmm.
lock in some of your pay.
Yeah,
So
like I.
that when I say Dlive is a scam, and I'm not talking about their investors, I'm talking about the creators like us. This is the kind of thing that I'm talking about, where it's like maybe this is not like maybe this won't pan out. Maybe there's going to be people who lock in their entire paycheck and then lose it. This like that's how it kind of feels to me. And even then, when the quartering said, "Well, just don't do any of this, just stream on Dlive and forget about the point system." I mean, that's still fair. That's still a fair thing you can do.
Hmm. Yeah, you don't actually have to become a partner or anything to use the system. I mean, the only reason it's advantageous to become a partner is because you get transcoding and things of that nature. But I mean, if you're using Restream or anything else like that, it really doesn't matter, to be perfectly honest. But I mean, look at that balance of Lino right now. Like the total locked, it says total locked Lino identified, regardless of balance, is 84,000 or 84 million. It's about $1 million right now that they have locked up in the system, which means that if every single person on the Lino network decided to unlock in 3 months they would have to be putting out $1 million payment, which means that they have to have at least that much money in the bank.
I have a feeling that wouldn't work out well for them. I know they have the 20 million in venture capital, but I have a feeling that might be like a big problem if everyone did that. But then again, like any system is run on confidence, right? We went, and it doesn't matter if it's money, doesn't matter if it's social capital, doesn't matter whatever it is. If you put work into something and then the system collapses, you lose your work. But if you withdraw your work from something, then at least you have it. But the system is now more likely to collapse. So usually, whenever there's like a stable system of any type, whether it's financial or otherwise, there's some kind of long term incentive to invest. And
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm blind or something, but I don't necessarily see it here.
Yeah, there. Somebody in your chat actually said too. What does locking Lino do? And another guy was like, because it's going to be like BTC and it's going to go up. Lock it in and ends up going up like BTC. And for Lino, that's not a possibility. Like the SEC clearly states for a token like this, it has to be a static value. So right now, this value is pegged at 0.12, which is a little more than a penny. And what they're saying in the future is even if this thing does go to mainnet, and Lino becomes like a mainnet coin, like it could have fluctuations, but like it's supposed to be a stable coin. Like in order for it to be legal and for it to operate, it has to be a stable coin so that the value of it will be pegged. So it's like you're not going to be getting the same kind of ups that you would be getting for Bitcoin because it's not a cryptocurrency.
Yeah, and actually, this reminds me of something that I put in. I was in the chat during your stream. I said that one of their long term plans is to gradually devalue uh, the Lino token and then just kind of keep the excess value through inflation, and that's kind of like one of the ways they're going to make their money. Um, and then someone had linked me some. I don't have it now. I should have had it. Someone linked me some case law from the '90s where companies did that with gift cards, where if you didn't spend the money on the gift card in 3 months, it would slowly lose its value, and the companies lost that lawsuit because there was no expectation that a gift card was a fluctuating currency; it was a token, and
Mm-hmm.
so this might actually be illegal if they do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, they can't, like when they go from testnet to mainnet, they have to completely pay back all of the investors for everything that they've invested into it, and then everybody has to buy back in. That's the only way of it being legal in the United States.
Hmm. I don't know.
Other
It's
countries,
it's a tough sell.
I mean, where they're sitting at right now, they had some substantial growth because of PewDiePie that did not transfer very well to anyone else because people will come and watch PewDiePie on DLive and then they just like go back to doing whatever else they're doing. And I mean, that's been a big complaint that they're like, it's great having big names, coming over to the platform, but that's the same thing. It's like, okay, well, what if Sargon came over here? Or what if, I don't even know. I just am going to say his name because I know you people like him. If Sargon came over here and started doing streams on DLive, like anybody that came over and stayed on Dlive and liked it would probably stay, right? But what we see is the majority of those people are just going to leave and go back to the other platform after they're done viewing that show. You know, like there's a lot of people here that are streaming, but some of the streamers on Dlive seem to have the idea that there's too many streamers and not enough watchers. Like, I mean, I've had my own friends that have been on my streams for a long time who are like, oh, I'm going to start streaming now and I'm going to start running games. And then they're getting discouraged because they don't have anybody watching. And it's like, you know, like, hey, man, I was there for fucking 3 years, bro. I was there for 3 years before I started getting popular. And then it was another 3 years and I'm still kind of like a chub. But
I know the feeling, man. My channel on YouTube started in 2009, and it wasn't political. It was anime. We did anime reviews, like angry video game nerd style, you know, like that guy with the glasses style anime stuff, because that was what we liked back then. We were like 22, you know, and took us 5 years to hit 1,000 subs on YouTube.
dang.
And then it took like maybe another 2 years to hit 5,000, and then it took about a year and a half to hit 65,000.
That's
So there
pretty
is
awesome, though.
there is like an exponential growth that eventually happens, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
yeah, I know the struggle, man.
Well, I was going to say, well, you know my struggle because I started on YouTube in 2007, and since I like started on this thing, like I've gone up and down. But like for a guy like you, like DLive is an interesting proposition because like with all of the shit that we talk about it, there's actually still good stuff that I think it is there. You know, like I get almost all of the money that people give to me comes directly to me, and you know, like that right there has been pretty beneficial. Where you know, like I used to make like you know, like I have two different YouTube channels. On each of those channels, I'd make like $300-400 a month or something like that. And now with my Dlive in there, you know, like I'm still making that on the other channels, but then I'm actually making, you know, more on Dlive where it's in like $600. I think we had a $1,200 month in Lino where, you know, we got donated 100,000 Lino. You know, the struggle is real for people out there, but like DLive is cool if you have an established audience and your audience spends money, basically. Like that's where the DLive proposition becomes like a really nice sell. Like if you're a guy that's getting super chat after super chat after super chat, like being on Lino is just going to you're just going to get more money, period, because you're not getting 35% taken out from YouTube or 50% taken out from Twitch or, you know, whatever they take for the damn bits. And this is weird to some people because they're like, well, I don't want to put all my money in. Like, you don't have to lock your Lino. Like, you don't have to. I think the lowest amount that you have to lock to get something is like 5,000 Lino, which is like $50 maybe. But even then, like, if you make money every single stream, you know, like me and you, monetization does not pay me very well. Like my monetization maybe generates me $1 to $10 per video that I create, depending on how popular it is and how many F bombs I drop, and if I play, you know, a copyrighted piece of material within it. So like the way I look at it is, as long as I get one single donation, somebody throws me a diamond, somebody throws me, you know, $1 basically, like that covers the monetization for that stream, so I don't have to care about that shit. And what I've noticed is that giving people the option, because I've always been a multi-streamer. I streamed to YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Periscope. I streamed to all of them at once, and you know, maybe it fractionalizes my options, but everybody can see the chat and all the stream, and I mean, it's all there. And I think that having the place and using it as an opportunity for growth, like, isn't a problem. And I mean, PewDiePie has basically shown us the best example of this, because it's like he's streaming on there, he's making money, and he's taking cash outs, but like he hasn't taken a cash out yet.
Sorry,
He hasn't taken a cash out yet.
PewDiePie hasn't.
Yeah, it's like according to what he's got right there, the
I
unlocked
I thought
Lino.
this is the cash out there, the 52,000.
No, it says that that's the total earnings that he's made on the platform, but that doesn't mean that he's actually gotten cashed out on it.
Okay, fair enough. No, I thought this was the actual withdrawals that you took. That's
Yeah,
what I was thinking.
if you go to the Lino.network website and you can go to the tracker, you can actually go to the tracker and look up PDP.
Network. Let's check it out. And tracker, there it is.
And then type in PDP. Then go to balance history, and let's see, transfer out. So click on the one that says transfer out.
Oh yeah. Okay. No, I'm looking at all these donations that he's gotten, but transfer out. Looks like none.
Zero. He's never cashed out one time. So anytime anybody transfers out, so go back one and type in Defango.
All right. I'll head back.
And then I go to my balance history. You can see when I started on the system in 2018. And then you can go to my transfer out screen, and you'll notice that I've
Says it.
also, it'll say nothing that has gone out, but give it a second, it might actually pop up. Because
All
it's
right.
supposed to
Yeah, there
say
it is.
there it goes. So you can see what I've transferred out. So you can see Dlive Bank. I just transferred 60,000 Lino out, which is like $720 or something like that. And then I put every time it goes to Dlive chest, that's when I put it in the chest. So you can see every single in out that I've ever had. So if you scroll down, you can see from when I started how much money I've taken out of the Lino network and what I've done very clearly. And
Okay.
every time that I've ever put anything into the chest, so like you could look very clearly, you could look at PewDiePie's account. He's cashed out, man. He's not cashed out once.
Well, it could be that he's treating it the way that the Cordon recommended, where you just stream with it, but you don't actually care too much about the financial side of it. You just stream.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. I mean, he could take a big payment for them, but like PewDiePie came to Dlive. I don't think people understand this. Everybody has this conspiracy theory that he got paid a huge promotion gig and all this other shit, and that's just like, nah.
Is that
That's
confirmed that he approached them first?
Yeah, it's confirmed that he approached them about all of this stuff, and he was like, "Well, I'm gonna stream up over here, and I'm gonna do this," and like they haven't shown him getting any money whatsoever from any of this stuff. Like he did get some kind of payment or whatever because there had to be something there, but like it's not in the amount that he had gotten. The money that they gave him, he gave all of it away, and people gave it all back to him.
And now he's just
So
sitting on it again.
yeah, and he's just sitting on it. So like, he could go in the future and like give it out, but literally like there was out of like I made a list of all of the people that actually got paid. So when PewDiePie went out and was donating to streamers on DLive, like he donated to this one cocksucker called Unirock, and like it was so fucking hilarious to see all these other people that had gotten donations that were like using it and giving it back, and then this one cocksucker on stream is like cashing this shit out because it's like like 60 or it's like $600 or something like that because he got like 10 ninja guineas or something like crazy. So there was a lot of like pressure, I think, on people when that shit happened, like where does this money coming from and who's doing the investment. And I mean, legitimately, you got to look at like PewDiePie's like a smart business analyst and person, but at the same time YouTube's been messing with his shit for a while now. So like why should he be live streaming on YouTube? Like he could look at it right now and show that for what he makes live streaming on YouTube, he's got that in the bank at DLive now.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I never at all suspected that like PewDiePie was the scammer or anything, Like I think like worst case scenario, maybe he took a deal he didn't really know about. Best case scenario, maybe he really wants an alternative platform to come up other than YouTube and Twitch, and he might have not chose the right one, but he's still like a good faith attempt. I don't think he's malicious or anything.
Yeah, I don't think PewDiePie would stream on Twitch though because their system sucks. Their system for like partnership and like the way they do it kind of sucks. Like I'm one of those interesting people that has the old affiliate thing where like I actually manipulated the form so I could not check those two boxes, and then like so I could restream to everywhere and they can't say anything to me because their computer system accepted my application with my addendums to it. So they have to eat that shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yep, I know what you mean. I wish I had it myself.
But some other people out there, like they don't see, like for PewDiePie, it doesn't hurt him putting all this in here. He could take a big huge payment out of it. Maybe he's got like a an agreement with them. Okay, well you can't move this 50K out for like 6 months because we want to make sure this thing's going out. But it doesn't hurt him, like it's not a bad business proposition in any way, shape, or the form. And I think a lot of people were scared of it. People are supposed to be scared of DLive, right? Because I mean, if you rearrange the letters, it says devil. I mean, that's right. I
Is
fucking
that
said
the
it.
argument?
Yeah, seriously, if you just take the D and just move it over, man. Dlive turns into devil, bro. I'm telling you, Dlive's the devil. They hate it when I say that, but
Well,
it.
see, like I think a lot of people, especially like people who are really into DLive, they leave some comments or something, or they talk to me and they're like, "Listen, you just because you have 65,000 subs on YouTube, or because sometimes your Twitch stream gets viewers, and really it is really sometimes, guys, it's not all the time. Twitch.tv/GameBoomers, please. However, um, they say you're invested in these old systems, and so you don't want to see something new come about, and absolutely not. I would love to see DLive as advertised initially working properly. I would support it. I want to see it work, but it's just that like there's so many questions. There's so many questions that we seem to not get answers to. There's so many questions that they seem to actively avoid answering, that this almost seems too good to be true in a sense.
I mean, I can see where you're coming with it on that one, and honestly, like I tell like creators like you, like the reason that I spent all this time on this platform is because I'm like an evangelist for this type of stuff. I'm a consultant. I'll go in, I do the dirty hard work, just like I did with some other things out there in the world, like the cicada crap or the fake cicada crap. Like I had to go. I put myself through all of that stuff because I wanted to see what it was, because I keep very meticulous records about all this stuff. And DLive to me is no different. For guys like you, I say it's always there. If you plan on streaming on one platform, you might as well stream on all the platforms. I'm like a restreamer by like definition, like I'd rather stream to all my platforms and have as much ability for viewership as possible and give people the option to watch me where they want to watch me than try to like force people from one platform to another platform to another platform to another platform. So if you have a decent sized audience on, YouTube, you give them the option to get into it. I mean, if people don't care about it, they're not going to do it. Like if people like Twitch, they're going to watch on Twitch. People like YouTube, they're going to watch YouTube. People like DLive, they're going to watch on Dlive. I mean, it's up to the individual, it's up to the end user. That's why the internet is beautiful, is because you make the choice, right? And as content creators, we're the ones that are delivering this shit out. So like the way I've always looked at it, and my friend Atlas, he like agrees with me on this one. They're just like, hey, if you can restream and you can send it out to the more platforms, it's better for you, because that's how you grow. Like I get consistent growth on all of my channels, even though, I don't, depending on what I'm talking about, it either may be important, it might not be that important. But to me, it's just about making those connections with people and letting them watch what they want to watch. And, honestly, like I make money on every platform. I got a Twitch payout today. I'm going to get a YouTube payout in the next couple of days, and I also get a DLive payout in the next couple of days. So the way I look at it is now is that as long as I'm able to operate and do what I need to do, and if I could supplement my YouTube channel, because like I only made it to 20,000 on YouTube. After that, like I just don't grow, because like my audience is there. That's basically is, unless I start like doing some ridiculous stuff again, or like have some crazy events happen in my I don't feel like my channels are going to get very much bigger on YouTube. So just take it out there and take it with the grain of salt. I mean, some people are afraid of losing money, but I mean, there's so many people out there right now that have made money off of the system and proven the system that's work. I mean, like you said, if it's a scam, it's not a scam on us, and it's not a scam on the users. It's the scam on whoever's gonna buy this fucking thing in the future and have to deal with all the bullshit that it comes with. Because I mean, do you really want to be YouTube and have to deal with all the shit YouTube has to deal with on a daily basis? No.
Yeah, I think ever since Google's bought YouTube, they haven't made them any money. And personally, I think the reason that Google keeps YouTube around is for the social capital, not for the money.
Hmm. No, I mean, social capital is everything. You say social capital, I mean, DLive is like social capital. The people that are a part of it really, really believe in it, because a lot of them are dumb and they think it's going to be like Bitcoin in the future, and they're just like, okay, I'm not going to tell anybody, but yeah, I know how it is. And building social capital is like, you build social capital anywhere, right? Like thoughts and physical forms have no difference. They're the same energy, right? And I've always like been a very big portent to that. So it's like where you put your energy and where you put your mind is what are the things that you're going to make it in? And if you don't want to be on Dlive, or if you think it's a scam, fuck it, hey man, make as many videos as possible and tell everybody about it, evangelize about it. But I just hear me out.
Yeah.
Think of how much fucking funnier it would be if you did it while you're on the platform and doing it and making the money. I mean, it doesn't make you, a hypocrite. It just makes you an active individual in this thing.
And yeah, I think for me, like for someone like me, it actually does kind of make sense because let's say that you're completely new to this, right? You're like, I don't have a following, but I'm going to start being a content creator. First channel I open up, Dlive. That might not go well.
Might not. There's a lot of people that do that.
Oh yeah, I know there's a lot of people do that, but it might not go well for them. Like, I think YouTube will still be here in 5 years. I don't know about Dlive. That's kind of what I mean. Is like maybe. Like, here's the thing. I'm saying stuff. I sincerely hope that I'm wrong and somebody just rubs it in my face because I want to be wrong about this, but it's just kind of what I see right now is like, if you spend a bunch of time, you spend a bunch of your energy, a bunch of social capital building an audience on Dlive, if Dlive goes under, and I think there's a better chance it'll go under than something like Twitch or YouTube. If Dlive goes under, those people probably won't follow you somewhere else. They might, but there's a good chance that like that entire follower account's probably just going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, this kind of reminds me, another of the Quartering's critiques of me in one of his videos is that I said that there's no organic growth on Dlive. I probably misspoke. I probably should have said that there's little organic growth on Dlive. And I think that's something that you've said earlier is that like viewer counts are going down, people aren't staying after the PewDiePie streams, things like that.
It's true.
And there was a video that I saw, and I think it might have even been deleted, but it was a guy who basically took a reading of a bunch of the games on Dlive every single day at the same time all throughout May. And he just said, okay, we'll go to, I can probably recreate it here. Actually, I have it up. We'll go to Mobile Legends. Here's a game. 1,222 people watching, right? Most people who have 3-digit viewers or larger are streams that have following somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Get to the 2 digits, it's people who are kind of like homegrown. And that's a consistent thing across every game for the most part on Dlive. So it's like the people who are big on Dlive are the people who, for the most part, are the ones who were like, who brought their audiences here.
Mm-hmm. A lot of them like that.
Yeah, and that might be a long-term problem if people are just coming for their 1 or 2 guys and then leaving.
Exactly. And that's always been a problem. I mean, too, like towards the end of the night, really late at night, like you only see, like maybe 1,000 in the chatting section and the rest of them are like, 50 people, 40 people. So that's one of the things there is that there's a lot of people that are streaming out there to like 1 or 2 people and the rest of it is just not there. It's really weird too that I'm like looking at yours. Oh, it's because you're looking at the PUBG mobile thing. I was like, I don't even see me on there. Yeah, like we're down a little bit.
About, yeah.
Yeah, see, like going through all of them.
Oh yeah, go to all. Yeah.
If you go to all of them, like you can see us if you scroll down a little bit, but you can see like there's 412, then they got 70 people. You gotta scroll down a little bit before you run into us, and then you got mine. You got the truth about
here's
Dlive.
Dankula. Here's another friend of mine, Count Dankula. He's doing his thing, nice. but he has like I think 300,000 people on YouTube watching him. He has that many subs on YouTube.
Jesus Christ.
So like he brings people over. Quartering has 500,000 subs on YouTube. He brings people over, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and Dlive right now. Yeah, you can see everything that we're doing, and I put it on the Dlive category because I wanted to make sure that they saw it.
Oh God, have they messaged you like, get him off?
No, dude. What are they? They don't control me. What are they gonna do? Take away my shit? I'll tell them to suck it. I'll tell them to suck it. They know that I have no problems with going through everything and making them feel and making them know that I understand what's going on. I mean, it's a nice platform, but like most people are restreaming to other platforms, so like like you're kind of fractionalizing your audience a little bit, and some people don't like that shit. So I mean, it's one thing to keep your eye, it's one thing to keep yourself aware of when looking at this system, and it may not be around forever, but something's happening.
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't know. I keep going back to this. I hope to be proven wrong, and I hope to have like 10,000 ardent Dlive supporters messaging me and telling me that I was wrong, and it's actually this huge successful platform. And you know what? I'll probably be there. you know, and maybe I'll even try to go there before that happens. But I don't know. There's something about it. There's something about it that I don't have much confidence, and I would rather have confidence than not. You know,
No,
but
I feel you,
I don't
man.
know. I don't know.
I feel you. I feel you. Well, man, I mean, we've had like a 2 hour chat on this thing, and I got dank memes traded company room. So I think I got to thank you for like actually sitting down and talking to me about all this stuff, because I feel like we pretty much got everything else out on the table.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if there's anything else really to go over because we went over DLive, went over the line of network, we went over the inflation, the cash outs, the things that I got wrong, the things that I got right, you know.
Yeah, I think you did a pretty good
Yeah.
job. There was some things you got wrong, but it's like you're not wrong for being like worried about something being shady, because I mean, it kind of feels shady to some people. I mean, there's some shady shit. There was some shady shit in the past. Can't change that. Can't
Yeah,
change it.
yeah. I guess the last thing I'll ask then is, as somebody who uses it, do you feel like it's shady, and do you think it's going to last?
I think it's gonna last. Actually, I think that they can get through this like hump that they're in right now, and if they start getting bigger subscribed people actually out onto the platform, I think that they could actually survive. Like it's still a relatively small platform overall, and I mean any of the small ones like this, like Streamy, Hitbox, Beam. I mean, they've all had their issues and problems, but with this particular one, I think that it might actually be able to survive. I see it going until I see it getting launched onto the main net, and I think that that's going to happen in like a year. But
Yeah.
after
Oh.
that, like if it gets it to mainnet, it'll stay, because there's really not going to be anything that you could do to stop it from to make it go anywhere, because it'll be fully, self operational. But like it has to get to the mainnet. If it doesn't make it to that point, it's not going to go. And I mean, you're right. That's where the scam lies too, because if it ever doesn't make it to mainnet, then all these people that wasted all of their time, some of them are going to hate themselves, and other ones like me are just going to be like, oh shit, another platform that I just got to delete from my restream.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, thanks for talking to me about this because I'm not a crypto guy at all, so I did have to. You did educate me a fair bit. I have no problem with being proven wrong or being told when I make mistakes online. I do own up to it, so that's a bit of what this was about at least. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for doing that stream of the video too, because I did appreciate the critique.
Yeah, dude. I was mostly just thinking that it was just going to be hilarious to do. And then I was just like, oh man, this is great. This guy showed up. And then all these other people showed up. And then fucking Wilson showed up. And I was like, God damn, man. It's a hell of a Sunday night. It was a crazy Sunday night. I mean, I don't hunt for drama, but like I try to talk about the good things. And if you ever need, somebody who actually knows shit about cryptocurrency, worked on cryptocurrency, like hit me up about that kind of thing, because I can help educate you in some of these things, because like I'm very invested into crypto, and at the same time, like like I want to help people succeed. And I think there's like some people that know enough, but they don't know enough to really be like telling their people what's good about it. And I mean, I don't think that you're wrong about DLive at all. I just think that you're afraid of it, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being afraid of something, especially like cryptocurrency rise, because I mean, look at how many people have gotten fucked. And that's really just it.
Yeah, definitely. I guess that brings us to the end. Thanks for showing up, guys. If
No,
you want
thanks
to
for being
check out,
here.
yeah, if you want to check out, I mean, I know it's on your stream as well as mine, but if you want to check out Defango's channel, that's youtube.com/user/Defango. Um, and
That'd be great.
you do crypto stuff and stuff like this, so it's really cool. All right, I guess I'm gonna stop the broadcast now. I'll see. You know what? No, hold on. One last thing. I think I should announce to people we did skip Vampire the Masquerade this week, but we'll be doing it next week. and I'll probably be streaming some Mass Effect 3 tomorrow on Twitch, and maybe on Dlive. Who knows?
Maybe on Dlive. Dun, dun, dun. Well, thanks a lot, man.
Yep.
Peace.